Brilliant speakers know how to do one thing very well, and that is engaging their audience. In this video, I'm going to be helping you to become better at engaging your audience whenever you give a presentation, irrespective of the speech type or audience type. And we're going to be doing this by breaking down Denzel Washington's acceptance speech in 2019 when he was given the AFI Life Achievement Award. If this is your first time being on this channel, just click the subscribe button to become a partner in this growth process. My name is Buife Nomeh, and I share content here to help you take your presentations from boring to brilliant. And if you are looking to start your career in speaking, or if you're looking to start a speaking ministry where you use your voice and to share a message that can transform lives and businesses, then also go ahead and join us, because that's exactly what we do here. Okay, let's look at Denzel's speech and see what we can learn to help you become better at engaging your audience.
I'm up here to say thank you to God for giving me this ability, for blessing me, for shaping me, for chastising me, for teaching me, for punishing me, for allowing me to be a vessel and touch people around the world. I want to thank AFI, Cicely Tyson, Ed Zwick, Spike Lee, Carl Franklin, Alan Nero.
So from what we can see here, he begins his speech by acknowledging the people that have been a part of his journey, have taught him, have supported him, and have basically helped him to get to where he is. He's not taking this award as though it was just he was a self-made success. He's acknowledging other people. This is a great thing to do when you are being celebrated for something. For instance, if you work in your team and you have just been acknowledged as the employee of the month or the employee of the year or the person that that made the most sales, it's important not to take that glory all for yourself. Acknowledge the other members of your team who supported you, who provided you with the tools and the advice and everything else that you needed to make that success possible. People love themselves and people love to be valued and acknowledged. So if you're acknowledging people in your audience, say your colleagues, you are basically making them feel important at that point, and they would give you their attention.
My mother, she's 95 years old now. She's something else. She's tough. Everything ends because I'm your mother, that's why. Shut up. Still, the other day, because I'm your mother, that's why. Shut up.
I love how he mentioned his mom and pulled in a joke in there. Now, one of the ways that you can engage an audience is to tell a joke. But if you're not a funny person, or if you are horrible at telling jokes like myself, then I would encourage you to avoid it by any means necessary. There are other techniques to engage an audience like we're going to see more of in this video. However, you don't have to be a stand-up comedian, a professional stand-up comedian to integrate jokes into your presentations or speeches. Just like he has done, he just said something that his mother said to him a few days ago, mentioned the fact that his mother was 95, and then of course when you look at him, he's literally a father with grown children, and then his mom is still saying, because I'm your mother, you have to shut up because I'm your mother. That's a way that you can also integrate a joke into your presentation to make your audience laugh. Another way is maybe something happened within your team and you guys came up with a funny thing that you say that is only known amongst you in your team. Then you can say that as a way of, it has to be relevant to what you're saying, of course, as a way of getting your audience to laugh. If you have a picture or a video of something funny that happened, you could also share it. Just make sure that everything fits into what you are delivering on and helps you convey your message.
To my father, who taught me by example how to be a gentle man, the most important person in my life. 40 years of sacrifice, 40 years of forgiveness.
There's something that Denzel did here when he started talking about his wife. He doesn't just say, I've been married to her for a long time. He says 40 years. There's a difference between saying, I've been married to this person for the longest time and saying 40 years. 40 years brings that into perspective. It helps the audience see the longevity of their union. How can you apply this? Use your numbers. Use numbers. Numbers are more concrete in the minds of your audience than using a vague statement like many years ago, many people, a lot of people on this team, a lot of customers are buying from us. How many customers? Customers are buying this product more often. How often? Quantify your statements with numbers.
She taught me about faith, spirituality, love, real love, unwavering love, in spite of myself. I would not be alive without Pauletta Washington. I wouldn't be alive. Small minds discuss other people, gossip. Good minds discuss events. Great minds discuss ideas. I was Eleanor Roosevelt. I was also Pauletta's father, my father-in-law. He was a great man. He taught me so much about what being a man really is. I want to end the night with a short video that we recorded of Pauletta's father 30 years ago that my son, Malcolm, gave me, an AFI graduate.
He does something again here when he started a quote. So I want you to also take note of how he introduced a quote to his speech. He started by saying the quote before mentioning the person that said the quote. Sometimes you could start by mentioning the person, say you want to say according to Eleanor Roosevelt, or you can start the way that he started. What is most remarkable about this is that he wasn't going to speak on something that Eleanor Roosevelt said. He wanted to speak about his father-in-law. However, more people know about Eleanor because she was once a U.S. First Lady than those who know about his father-in-law. So to give credibility to what his father-in-law said, he had to first of all attribute that statement to a person that is more famous. So if you want to use a quote in your presentation or speech, find somebody who is famous that have said something about that topic, or someone who is a professional. For instance, if you're talking about sales and if you want to give a sales quote, you can quote someone like Zig Ziglar, because Zig was a renowned salesperson. So quoting a famous person or a professional within the subject area of your presentation would give your speech more credibility and would keep your audience's attention. If you notice, he made use of the numbers again. So instead of saying the video we made of my father-in-law years back, he said 30 years ago. And I believe that that was also to show that what his father-in-law said 30 years ago is still relevant today. So if something that was relevant 30 years ago is still relevant today, then that means that's something that we need to pay attention to and that the audience needs to pay attention to.
Just a short 30-second video, and this is what Pauletta's father had to say 30 years ago.
We were put here for a reason. God created man And God intends for us to love all mankind. And by being in a loving mood, caring for one another, that's our purpose for life. We should care for one another. And we should love one another.
I told you guys, Denzel is such a brilliant speaker. If you've followed me for a while, you know one of the things that I often say is you don't have to use PowerPoint as a visual aid for your presentation. I know a lot of times, and I've worked with a lot of people who believe that they have to use PowerPoint. They have to use PowerPoint to keep their audience engaged and all that. You don't have to. PowerPoint is just a type of visual aid. And like I've mentioned over and over, you can use other types of visual aids, one of which is playing a video. Now, he could have just said what his father-in-law said 30 years ago. He could have just said that by himself. But to add more oomph to his speech, he played the video. There's a difference between hearing a reported statement and hearing it from the horse's mouth. And Denzel chose to share this idea with his audience by playing the video of his grandfather who made the statement in the first place. Think about your next presentation. What visual aid can you use that would be more effective at engaging your audience than a PowerPoint slide?
In this Twitter tweet, meme, mean world that we've created for our children, the least we can do is consider what we've done and think about the young people, the future, and individually, collectively do the best we can to try and turn this thing around. I blame no one. I look in the mirror. On the other side of it, what an opportunity we have, because tomorrow's the first day of the rest of our lives. So what an opportunity we have to practice what he preached.
Cool.
Good night.
I love this speech a lot. The last part of this video, he used it to share a message. If you are receiving an award or if you have been giving the platform to speak, make sure that you use that platform to share a message that is important. Everything comes down to driving your audience to take an action or asking your audience to take the necessary action that would get the desired result. And he does this so well by asking them to, hey, let's change this narrative. What we're building with Twitter and with the whole social media platforms, it may not create a future that would benefit our young people. So let's start today to start changing things and creating things that would empower the young people tomorrow. And he makes it a we thing, not a you thing. So he doesn't tell the audience to, you have to do this or you get to do that. He's saying, let's. That's when he said, I blame no one, I look in the mirror. Which is another important thing. You can create your own quotes during the time you're preparing your presentation. So think about the idea that you want to pass across and come up with a quote that can be memorable. This way your audience can always remember something that you said that would help them remember the rest of your presentation. The last thing was also saying something that is familiar but making it his own. So he said by doing what he preached. Usually we say do what you preach, but he says do what he preached. It's a common statement, but he's made it his own. Are there any common statements that you can make your own to be more memorable, to make your speech and presentation more memorable? Then go ahead and get that quote. Finally, I'm going to take you through the entire speech to show you how Denzel organized his speech. Now, irrespective of the kind of presentation you're giving, make sure that you take your time to put your points in a logical structure, because that would help your audience follow your train of thought. So how did Denzel do it? First of all, he started by acknowledging and appreciating the people that have supported him and being a part of his success story. Then he segued into what his father-in-law had said in the past. Now remember, his father-in-law is also part of the people that has been a part of his success. And then from what his father-in-law said 30 years ago, he took out a message and then used that message to pass across the idea of, hey, let's build a future that would be empowering to our young people. How would you organize your speech in a logical structure so that it is easy to follow? That's it for today's breakdown of his speech. What was your favorite technique that Denzel used? Did you catch any technique that I didn't mention in this video? Leave that in the comments. And if you found this video helpful, let me know in the comments what you learned and how you're going to apply it in your own speeches or presentations. Don't forget to subscribe, share this video, share it with someone, your colleagues, your friends, and your business buddies. If you struggle with stage fright, grab a copy of my book, Beat Stage Fright for Good. My name is Buife Nomeh. Thank you and see you in my next video.